Hey there, everyone. Happy hump day. It is Dr. Brendan Giljum here with Giljum Chiropractic. We're doing our lunchtime learn FAQ, and today we are going to be discussing a topic that I myself was curious about when I was going through chiropractic school, and I know that I have a lot of patients who have these terms thrown around at them and often ask me about them, and so I figured we'd touch on it a little bit today. And that is the difference between a disc herniation and a disc bulge. They are two different things that pertain to the same part of our spine, and that is our juicy little disc. Now, we have, as everyone should know, muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons, all sorts of these words that help keep our spine stable, help keep our spine moving the way that it should in proper alignment. And in between every vertebra of our spine, we have a juicy little disc. And these discs are made up of two major parts. So they have a tough outer rubber-like layer that's called our annulus fibrosus. There's your 10-cent word of the day. Actually, we're going to have two of them. Annulus fibrosus is the outer layer of disc. Then we have an inner layer called the nucleus propulsus. Now, you can think of it like a jelly donut. It's basically a good little, representation of what it is. So the outer layer, or the annular fibers, help keep that juicy little inner area in its place, much like the jelly inside of a donut. That inner area has a ton of nerve endings and is very big as part of our nervous system. And so you don't want it flopping around, going all over the place. Now, through life, when we have the breakdown of the biomechanics of our spine, whether through poor posture, trauma, any sort of reoccurring micro trauma from sitting all day, all sorts of things that place abnormal stressors on our spine and wear and tear on our spine, those annular fibers start to break down. And that inner area, that nucleus, can start to leak out a little bit. And this is not what you want. This is why we do what we do, so that this doesn't happen, so that our spine moves the way that it should and is properly aligned, so that we don't have any of these issues with the breakdown of our disc area. So when you have poor biomechanics or you're having issues, normally you'll know because you're in pain, then you tend to have an increase in the chance of your disc breaking down or herniating. Now let's get to the difference between the two, and that is the difference of a disc herniation or a disc bulge. Now, as we talked about, the disc herniation, pulling up some research here for this, the disc herniation is a different thing altogether from the disc bulge. A disc bulge is just when that disc starts to leak through a little bit, but not fully herniated. And as the difference suggests, a herniation is when the disc has already ruptured through those annular fibers, and you might start to have some of those pain. The reason being is because the area of our vertebra is so intricate. There is nerves, there's blood vessels, tissues that all run right behind those where the discs are. And so any little bulge or any sort of herniation can impact their ability to roam. Those nerves that run right behind the vertebra don't like when other things encroach on their area. They get ticked off really easy. The term that you'll hear thrown around all the time is a pinched nerve. Now, this herniation isn't going back there and squeezing your nerve and pinching it, but it's a nice layman's term for it. Really what's happening is that there's an encroachment of the area that those nerves like to roam, and so those nerves then get irritated. There's actually chemical inflammation that happens, and like I said, they don't like when things infringe upon their territory, and so you'll have some pain that might shoot and radiate down your leg, or depending on where it is, out to your arms, where the herniation is. So a herniation occurs when the actual medical term for it is when the outer portion of your disc, that's the annular fibers we talked about, ruptures or tears, and the soft inner jelly donut part squeezes out. So this type of pain and injury can occur at the site of the herniation. It can be local right there, or sometimes the herniation can affect a nerve that's right by there, and then that can cause some of that radiation down into your legs. That's where we often see sciatic type pain or things like that. Hey there. 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so a disc bulge occurs when the outer wall of the disc is weakened, but the inner portion is not yet broken through all the way. So now that you know the difference between the two, because I often have people asking me that, next week what we're going to talk about is ways to find natural relief for those. And as you could have guessed, probably what type of care results in over 90% of these people with a disc herniation finding improvement. We'll figure out next week. Hope this answered a lot of your guys' questions that I've been getting. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to hit me up. Have a good one, guys. Go Cardinals, go Blues.